Alright, so you see we've got the battery replaced here. The first part of this video is going to be the actual battery replacement. A couple important facts in that part, so watch that. We're also going to talk about the fuel filter replacement, which this one doesn't look like it's been done in a while, but this should be done every 10 to 20,000 kilometers. And then the oil change. So we'll do all three. First part of the video, like I said, is going to be the battery. Then we'll move on to those, because I do have to change out a timing control valve on the injection pump. That's going to make us drain this fuel anyways, so perfect time to replace it. Now, before we talk about the battery, I know I mentioned probably in that section about a second battery, and I was kind of surprised it didn't have one. Here you'll see the bracket. Excuse me. Here you see the bracket for the second battery. So right in the space, it was an option for a second battery. Now, this is not a 24 volt truck. If it did have a second battery, it would be wired in parallel. So you basically have, 1,000 cold cranking amps, but it's not the 24 volt system. So just a heads up, in case you're looking to add a second battery. It's a smaller battery, but it fits right here. I can put in the part numbers. I'm sure a lot of it's NLA, but I'll still put it in there. So look forward to the battery, and then we'll get into fuel filter, oil pump, or filter, and what oil, how much oil, all that stuff. We'll get into kind of the basic maintenance of the truck. Alright, well, looks like we're doing our first repair here. This is going to be the battery. I shut it off, and I tried to turn it back on. It was completely dead. Zero voltage, nothing, no power. So it's showing 11, 12 volts here. So I don't know if it's just this terminal or what's going on. Let me try starting this thing. Actually, before I do, let's check the oil, because I didn't do that either. I just assumed it was the right level. And got all the soot off. Looks like it's supposed to be here, like a normal dipstick. So let's stick this back in. And looks good. So it has oil. That's promising. Hope I didn't buy a battery and just the terminal was the problem. They're not loose, but I wouldn't say they're tight. I might need new terminals on here. Let's try it out and see what happens. Yeah, that thing's dead. So even though a battery might show 12 volts, it might still just be completely dead. Now we're down to 9 volts. So, like I said, I had the jump pack on the battery the whole way home, and that worked. So it's normal, just like any other Toyota. I mean, it's got 10 millimeters here, 10 millimeter here. This is a 10 millimeter. We can loosen that up. I don't even know why I'm showing a battery video, but might as well, right? It's content. So oil looks good. The filter looks new. Let's put that over there. I did check the coolant, and the coolant is nice and pink. So it's got the Toyota pink in there. That's pretty good. So really, we've actually got two tie downs, one on each side. And I swear, I thought these had two batteries, but maybe it was only certain models or trims. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. So I'll get these off and then we'll drop in a new battery. Okay, pull her out of here. Battery tray's a little broken, but doesn't look too bad. In case you're wondering what battery it uses, no, you do not need a Japanese battery. You can use a good old 35 group size. The factory one I think was 520 or 540 CCA. This one's 640. Dimensionally it's almost identical, so no problems there. Let me screw all this in, and we will start her up. Okay, let's see if they did the trick. So, first repair complete. Got a battery. Mechanically, I mean, everything else looks good. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to spray everything down, clean the engine bay. There's not much to clean, but just some dust, dirt in the engine bay up here, make it all nice and clean. And from there, we'll kind of do our inspection and see what it really needs, but good to go. Now, we also have to do an oil change here. I did a video on the skid steer, diesel skid steer, and the Liquimoly engine flush. This stuff works so well. I'm usually not a fan of like additives and whatnot, but you know how you pull out the dipstick and it's like black like that? I did this on the skid steer, and after this, you let it idle, pour this in, let it idle for 15 minutes. When you drain it out, new oil in, dipstick is golden. You don't have any black stuff, oil, soot, residue, whatever. So we're going to pour this in, idle it for 15 minutes, and then drain it. Pull that filter off, put a new one on, and then once we deal with this, at that point is when we're going to change the filter out. So as they say, the show must go on. So we've got this in here for 10 to 15 minutes, just idling. Then we're going to drain the oil, the filter, fill it, because we can't wait on things. We got to do this, knock it out, and then we can move on to the fuel problem. And we're just going to have to figure out what size O-ring it is once we take it apart. So you might be asking, how do I change the oil on my brand new right-hand drive truck? Well, as you can see, it's the same as any other car. So you got your 14mm drain bolt here, and try to avoid all the fuel leaking. There we go. Should be about I think it was 8 quarts if I remember correctly. So go like that, and ta-da! I'm gonna go wash my hands because that's probably not great for it. Going, you can see our 11-quart vat is almost full. So keep in mind that Liquimoly is basically like a solvent or acetone inside the engine, just scrubbing the walls of it to get all the excess gunk out of there. So we'll let this trickle out and close it up. No rush on this, so we want to get every last drop out of there. And the drain bolt is the same as any old drain bolt. Washer looks good, so I just flipped it around. I'm going to reuse it. I don't have another one, unfortunately. I always forget to get a new one. Sometimes they come with filters, but other times they don't. So that just goes like that. Everyone knows that. And then we'll hose all this down with brake cleaner just to clean it up. Because this diesel oil is nasty. It gets on your hands or whatever. It's on there for a while. Okay, 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there. Alright, let's go topside. Alright, I've got our oil filter here. I've already kind of pre-loosened it because I didn't know how hard it would be to loosen it. It's still on there pretty tight. So, there we go. And it looks like this has some kind of a shell around it, so oil doesn't go everywhere. That's interesting. I'm still going to position the pan underneath, because I don't know if that drains to just a little hole in the bottom or what. But let's see. Yep, So that's cool. That's pretty cool. You can just let your oil filter sit here. We've got the PO-1505 PMC oil filter, Pacific Manufacturing, Osaka, Tokyo. That's a nice filter. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's got its own little drain. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's even got its own little hose. You see that? There's a little hose in the corner here, like a pipe. And it just goes bloop, straight down. That is genius. So, anyways, we've got our Toyota twin element oil filter, 9915 3002 Denso, made in Thailand. I'm just going to put this in because I'm not going to contaminate the oil filter housing area and the pickup with brake cleaner or anything. We'll do that afterwards. And then obviously always hand tight on this. Never use a tool. There we go. Okay, got our full can. And we'll spray that out. In the pan it goes. Genius. Totally genius. Alright, moving along. We've got our funnel. We've got 2 jugs of Rotella T4, 15W40. You can do a little bit thinner if you live in a colder climate. But I'm going to put 2 of these in. That is 8 quarts. It calls for 8.1 quarts. So we'll kind of see where it's at after we start it up and idle it, shut it off, check the fluid, all that good stuff. So I'm going to pour this and the second one in. Moment of truth. Here we go. Check the oil for the first time. Oh, it is dirty. It is a dirty oil. Check the oil for the first time here. Oh, she is still pretty dirty. Might benefit on the next oil change to do another can of the Liquimoly. She is still dirty. Let's see where we're at though. It's right up there. It's right up to the top. I think we're okay with 8 quarts. Not all of it came out. Okay. So the next part of this video is going to focus on the fuel filter change and also probably some of this tied in. I will have a separate video entirely for this issue, this O-ring problem up here in the timing control valve. So next we will knock this out. Alright, here's our fuel filter. Here's our new fuel filter, shiny. Comes with 2 O-rings, one for the top and presumably one for the bottom right there. There's some element in there you can see, plastic, and there's a sensor here. So we want to disconnect the sensor like so, and we're going to need to disconnect this sensor from the bracket. I don't want to break it, so I don't know how you're supposed to get in there on the back side to pop those down. There's basically no room, and there's 2 clips on the other side, so that's kind of odd. There we go. So just a little, standard clip. I think we can leave these hoses on there, and if I understand this correctly, I should just be using an oil filter wrench, and ta-da! breaker loose. We may or may not get a lot of leakage from this. I do have the pan underneath just in case. Oh, there we go. Now it's good to have fuel in my oil pan because it's all, the diesel fuel is all, or the oil is really nasty, and this will kind of break it up, so I have to use a lot of brake cleaner to clean the pan out. Okay. Let's get this off here. Careful with the sensor, obviously you don't want to break that or anything. Alright, there we go. Let me dump this in our pan. And I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, the diesel fuel is going to clean up this pan really nice. And I put this top portion, the plastic portion, in a vise, and then I turn the filter. It's not on there very tight because there's that O-ring. So this obviously is your sensor, and you want to swap this to the new filter and put in a new O-ring, just like so. It's basically just like a, you know, fuel level sensor almost. Let's take a peek in there. Element kind of looks really dirty, actually. Really dirty. I have no idea how old this is. It looks pretty old. So I'm going to swap this over to the new one and we'll get it back in. Alright, new filter. Lube this up a little bit with fuel. This is hand tight. This is like a water drain, it looks like. So if you get any water accumulation, just open this up and drain it out. Make sure that's tight. Make sure this is hand tight. No more, no less. And then we will tighten her on here. I think I am definitely going the wrong way. Just righty tighty. There we go. Make sure that sensor spins free on the bottom. I guess you could spin it on after, but you know, there's no point. You probably just remove this hose so it doesn't kind of get stuck, but again, no big deal. Alright, so this is, again, hand tight. Like so. Perfect, and then we want to fill this up. We want to pump this. It'll fill the filter, it'll prime everything so it won't sit there forever. You won't get air in the lines to the injectors. Yeah, and that's it. Just plug in the sensor and you're good to go. I'm also going to write the date on this one. Put that there, put that there. I'm going to write the date on here with the mileage, and that's it. Bob's your uncle. You're done. Alright everybody, thanks for watching the basic maintenance video on the battery, oil change, and fuel filter on the KZ series diesel motor. Please like, subscribe, comment, and let me know if you like the content, what you want to see more of, less of, etc. Makes better videos. So, see ya. Thanks for watching. Bye.